Welcome to our Microsoft Agents series that we've been doing. And I'm Mike Gannotti, along with
Darryl Rowe.
Darryl Rowe.
Happy to be
And
here.
Darryl, you're going to show us something pretty exciting today, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to show you, or show everybody the researcher agent, which is a first-party agent from Microsoft. It's going to be in preview. You'll be able to use it soon in your own tenants, at least anyone that has a M365 Copilot license. And it uses something called deep reasoning. So we'll go through that and in the demo, and you'll see how that works as well.
Awesome.
So I can share my screen, and we can probably cover it very, very quickly in a slide because we love our slides.
Sure.
And we can go into demo. So let me do that. And I'll blow the slide up so everyone can read it. So the way I think a researcher is imagine you're doing some research. Typically, that could start, in the old days, you might go into your favorite search engine, type in multiple searches, look at certain links, copy into a notepad. Research can take a lot of time, right? Especially if you're doing something that's very complex and there are multiple sources, right? So, it could take, weeks in some cases. I remember a customer, and it said some of their papers take up to 3 months to write, which is amazingly long time. Think about the manpower that goes with that. And they've been using regular Copilot, and they've shortened their process down quite a bit. So, even with just generative AI that's out there today, that's helped their research considerably. But what the researcher agent does, it has something called deep reasoning, which is part of the latest GPT-4o, I believe, model, which basically, if you imagine when you do something in a Copilot right now, it takes maybe a few seconds to generate something. With deep reasoning, it's doing a lot more deep searching, deep thinking. Your responses can take, a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how complex your response is. But that said, the results are a lot richer. And when I say a lot richer, I'm talking about orders of magnitude richer. So I'm going to do a quick demo and I'll show you that. But imagine you're, for example, doing some research on something, you use regular Copilot, you'll get response back. You might have to iterate it a few times. It can get a long way down the road, but imagine if researcher was your Copilot, it could do 70 to 80% of the work out the gate, which is amazing, really. So I'm going to give you an example, and we're going to go and show that in a demo.
Okay.
And I'm going to skip that slide. Hang on, I think I've skipped over too many slides. Okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to show you my prompt. And I'm going to pull up Copilot. And I'm going to grab my prompt. I'm going to copy paste it in, and I'll read it out as well. And I'm going to make this screen a little bit bigger. So I'm going to run this twice. I'm going to run it in the regular Copilot. Copilot chat, and I'm also going to run it in Researcher.
Oh, nice.
You may also have noticed as well, this is the brand new Copilot chat interface. So coming to you very, very soon. We've done a little bit of housekeeping, there's some new stuff, and I think there's some future conversations we're going to be having, recordings about certain new features, but we're not going to talk about those today. But let's go through this, and I'm actually going to put in my prompt. And I think it's 4 sentences. So what is Microsoft's climate change policy? How does it plan to be sustainable over the next 50 years? What initiatives are they taking? Has policy affect investments in AI and data center footprint? So maybe you're doing a climate change research paper. You know what Microsoft's doing. I run this through a regular prompt, and you're going to see it's going to give a pretty decent result. So here it's generated a response, I'd say probably sub 2 seconds. And it's given a very, very detailed response, and it's given me some attributions, links to go and check. But if I'm imagining writing a paper, I want to have a little bit more detail than that. I don't want to have to keep going backwards and forwards and do this stuff. I could be spending a lot more time in Copilot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the researcher agent, which is part of the Frontier program. Again, it'll be coming to you soon in your tenants. You'll be able to try this out. And I'm going to put the exact same prompts in the message box.
Mm-hmm.
hit the send button, and straight away you'll see things are slowing down a little bit. So you see the progress bar. It's doing some deep reasoning already. What it's going to do first, though, it's actually going to ask me how I want this to be presented. So we'll give it a couple of more seconds. And I love this in demos because this is where you have to just keep talking while it's doing its thing. But once we get going, they'll actually see a lot more detailed in the progress as well. So here we can see the little dots are flashing. And here you go, straight away, it's asking me some more questions about the response that I want. So it's going to do what I actually asked for.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to ask me, do I want to change in the details? I'm looking for a detailed report or a brief summary. Do I want any specific areas of interest? Would I like information how these policies affect partnerships, collaborations? If I just want to say go ahead, I can do that. If I want to iterate on that prompt, I can. I'm just going to say go ahead because the interest of the demo, I don't even want to just sit and watch a progress bar. I'm just going to let it go. And you'll see straight away it will start doing its thing.
I like as it's going into it's showing you its reasoning behind the scenes, right?
Correct. Yes.
So,
if I expanded that little compressed box, you'll see it. So it's starting to do its thing, pulling together the resources. So it's actually doing that deep web search.
mm-hmm.
So it's going across using the Bing index, looking at certain relevant sources. So imagine if it was me doing this back in the old days, I'd go and fire up my favorite search engine and start searching for things.
Yeah.
Then it's looking at different articles about research and climate change policy, issues with research execution. It's going to look at expired links and ignore those. It's going to outline different report structures. Now exploring our carbon commitment. Now, if I actually had some websites I wanted to add, I could do that too. So maybe I already had a link to the Microsoft climate website. I could have added that as well. And maybe it would have helped. It would have graded that more thoroughly from there. But straight away, you can see what it's actually doing. It's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So it's a good time while it's doing that to go and grab a cup of coffee sometimes if you just want to start it off. I have one prepared earlier as well.
But still, like you said, it's going out and it's looking at, it's really showing you all the things that it's taking into account and evaluating right now, right? Which
it is,
if it doesn't give you quite the answer, in the past, you just sit there and blindly start iterating, right, with your prompts. Here, you can actually call out and say, in regards to exploring or reviewing carbon negative steps, do the following, and provided that kind of corrected instruction, because you understand exactly what went on behind the scenes around. But it's much more comprehensive.
Yeah, and I can still iterate on the prompts. So once it's done, if I'm still not quite 100% happy, I can still do that. It still lets me do that. But that said, the richness of the response is pretty amazing from what I've seen. It's pulling in a lot of details from a lot of different places, and it will provide those links as well, so you can see where it got its information from. It's not just blindly making stuff up either. So
the other thing too, like there's a ton of info it's already spit out. This is not the info response. This isn't the response yet. This is just what am I looking at and what am I doing?
Right. This is actually what it's doing, not the response exactly. The response is going to be pretty big, so it's going to be very rich.
And we're back.
I think we're getting it's done. It took its time, but it did actually do the work. So if you imagine the prompt we had before was a page, I think it was the result.
Yeah.
It was pretty detailed. Let's see what this thing has done. So it's not just giving me the results. It started to write the paper for me. So I can see here climate commitments, long-term goals. It's also got the citations, as you can see. So this is points to where it pulled its data from, so I can go back and reference that. I can keep scrolling down. I have a lot of pages here, right? So what I'm going to do is scroll to the bottom. You can see straight away it's written a very, very detailed paper, right?
Well, now all those things it was reasoning over, it structured them into a logical paper, diving into each section.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean, go on.
I was going to say, I used to teach English years ago, and writing was one of the big
Yep.
things, and how to structure all this. This would be well, it's kind of scary because this would be a dream for a research paper because it's called researcher. Exactly what you're looking to what I used to try to teach the kids to do. It just did phenomenal
Yep.
job.
Yeah, absolutely. And here you can see straight away, these are the sources it's pulled from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some of these are very, very detailed, right? So,
yeah.
I've expanded on those. But I've also got at the end, I've got my usual options. I can edit this in Pages. So if maybe I'm working on a longer bit of research and I'm sharing it with other people. So I'm working with you, Mike, for example, I can put this into Pages. Anything you're working on, you can put into here as well. So we've got one big collaborative workspace to play with. So here straight away, I'll share that out with you. And then you can carry on from there. The other thing I want to talk about though is if I just wanted to dump this straight into to Word, I could just do the copy response.
Yeah.
Create a new Word doc and paste it. And what's really nice about this is the formatting is actually really good. So if I just hit Control V, it's done it in a very, very nice way. It's not a horrible
so this
formatting.
Is telling how many pages it wrote, which...
Yeah, it's still counting them, I believe.
It's still counting them.
Yeah.
Because it's so big.
Yeah, I did this the other day, and it took a little while for it to count. It's got to 10,000 words. I think this is more than 10,000 words.
I think so.
The one I did the other day, which is shorter than this, was 17,000 words. So if this is not more than 20, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And at the end, as we mentioned, these are all its references. And now it's in
there we
Word.
go.
27 pages, it's saying. Okay, there you go. So now, I think, as you said, it's learning, right? As I did it last time, it was 17, so it's learning more and more.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you can do is, because it's in Word, I can go in there and do my edits. I can do my summarizations. I can change things up. So if I'm writing this research paper, it's done a lot of the work for me. I can go in there and put my own, style on this and everything else.
Sure. Well, and you could even use Copilot in Word.
Yeah.
To do some of that.
Yeah. The irony is, I've now got this long page. I can actually ask it to summarize it, to shorten it again. So I could summarize this document.
Sure.
Because I don't want to read 27
you
pages
could build
now.
So you've done, and well, think of this, right? Let's say I'm in IT. You build it, you create a summary. So you have the detailed research, you have a summary, and you have and you can spit out an FAQ on the fly. So, I mean, that's a lot of, and even though this took longer, we're still talking, a relatively short amount of time compared to what you would be doing otherwise if you're doing it, from scratch.
Oh yeah, I mean, 27 pages. How long would it take me to type that all day?
Research it, synthesize it, and type it.
Yeah, it would. This is probably a week's worth of work, at least for me.
Yeah.
And then, as you mentioned before, I could just go into Copilot. I'm going to add an executive summary to it, so the too long didn't read bit. And then it's got that as well. I'm going to keep that as the executive summary. And then, people want to read it, they can, get an idea what exactly this is about.
That is amazing. So that's Researcher.
Yes.
We'll put a link to the announcement and some of the links around it, and folks can start playing with that.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome. All right. So with that, this is Mike and Darryl.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Saying have a great day.
Have a good day.